Hey, Stephen Yanni here doing a junkyard crawl with help from my friends at High Octane Classics in Auburn, Mass. Thank you guys. And this is a 1960 Plymouth Fury. Now we got to remember the first name Fury appeared in 1956 aboard a two-door hardtop with a V8 and 240 horsepower. It was Plymouth's first image car, right along the 300B Chrysler, the Dodge Adventurer, or the DeSoto Adventurer, and the Dodge D500. But by 1960, the Fury name had been applied to, well, pretty much decontented onto wagons, two-doors, four-doors, convertibles, and sedans like this, very base car. Now, 1960 was the height of Virgil Exner's madness, and I say that with respect. But if you look at the lines that are formed into this steel, nay, tortured into this steel, imposed on this steel, you got to wonder, what was Virgil thinking, you know? But interesting design, and again, first year, 1960, for semi-unitized construction. In other words, from here back, this is a one-piece tub. From here forward, there is a frame underneath that bolts on, so it's semi-unitized. Now, you got to wonder about this windshield with its bulbous, sort of like inflated bubble about to burst kind of vibe, but again, wraparound windshields. But even up here, that effect was something seen in 1960 for the first time. Really extreme. You could look straight up at traffic lights, and of course the rear view mirror was not hanging from this, it was on the dash, ready to take out your ribs if you made a hasty exit with a contact with a tree. But with that said, we go further. This is the two-door sedan, the base body style often seen on cheap family cars. In fact, the base price on this thing was $2,659 with a V8, or 119 bucks less with a 6. We'll find out more about that in a second. But the craziest part of these things was the fins. Exner excess at its height, the height of the decline. And the crazy part of these things is how they were actually made. If you take a peek right here, there's a seam that runs between the inner and outer stampings, because to try and form this in one hunk of metal, have fun. So this is actually a seam that's covered by a piece of chrome that would hide the seam. But again, this is a Fury, and there is the Fury crest. The gold anodized is still looking pretty good. And again, European traffic or pedestrian safety standards would not appreciate this here. A kid riding down a hill on his bicycle, wham, right there, instant surgery. Now here we see the other side of the fin, and Lee Petty had one of these things, number 43, and he did pretty well. He actually crashed pretty hard in the thing, but these things were hitters on NASCAR speedways at the time. And we'll look inside and we'll see, yes, there it is. This one has the optional $211 torque flight. There's the push buttons for it right there. And just weird space age, almost Martian styling with that standalone instrument pod. This is made out of magnesium, by the way. That's not plastic, that's magnesium. It's a casting. And again, look at the steering wheel, it's square. And the horn buttons, almost like octopus, little suction cups. And again, there's the rear view mirror getting ready to take out your ribs as you make your exit. No seat belts in this, of course. But again, this is the Fury four-door sedan, often seen as police cars. And now we got to know what's under the hood of this. And again, it's 1960, first year for semi-unitized construction. So drum roll, please. Is this the Sonoramic 361 or 383 or the 30D slant 6? Let's roll that drum. And okay, yeah, 318 poly. This is the base engine in the Fury, the V8. There was also a 225 slant 6. This one is equipped with a heater. In a previous video, we did show a 1960 Dodge Dart. There was heater delete, but that structure right there is what you'll see on 99% of these things. And of course, right here, this is the generator in its final year for 1960. 61 would bring the alternator, which would be an aluminum structure. The nice thing about the alternator is that it makes electricity. It charges the battery even at an idle. Whereas this puppy here, you got to be going 2,000 RPM on up to really get the battery juiced up. So if you're sitting in a traffic jam at midnight with the high beams on and the heater going and the wipers going, the battery could be a little less than fully charged by the time you start moving again, because that generator, again, doesn't make full charge at low engine speed. So that would be gone for 61. But here is, right here, something kind of cool. 1960, the story of the solid Plymouth for 1960. Originally Wright Motor Corporation, Roanoke, Virginia, right here. But this is a brochure, a mini brochure that was sent out when these cars were new. Let's take a peek inside and see on the left, there we have it. That's semi-unitized construction. On top, body on frame. On the bottom, there is the semi-unitized. And Chrysler says, the way ordinary automobiles are made, a body unit is bolted to a frame unit. It is now going out of date. The way the solid Plymouth is built, a single welded unit is both body and frame in one. fun. For 1960, only Plymouth in its class has this unique new DuraQuiet unibody construction. On the right, Plymouth actually made some clear plastic replicas, and by twisting the body, it would change colors, and that's how they studied where to add metal. It says here, this is a miniature replica of a 60 Plymouth. It was fashioned from plastic on a special hand-carved wooden frame, and it cost $100,000 to build. It is 3/8 actual size. Plymouth engineers learned more from plastic replicas like this than would ever have been possible from actual full-sized cars. So we continue looking at this thing. And here we have torsion air. That's the torsion bars. 1957, these things arrived. Torsion bars are one of the secrets of Plymouth's torsion air ride. There it is right there, standard stuff. Over here, here's the fins. What do you know? There is more to these Plymouth stabilizers than meets the eye. Their looks are smart, but their real beauty is in the engineering behind them. Wind tunnel tests at the University of Detroit show that these stabilizers reduce by 20% the steering corrections that you would normally make in a crosswind. Okay, long before the Superbird had such things. And here we have, again, the two-door hardtop, beautiful semi-fastback. That's where it's at right there. And this, again, we're looking right now at a four-door sedan, a little clunkier looking creature. And again, the convertible, what a beautiful thing that is. You know, I mean, it's not a bad looking car. And it does speak to the fact that the same form, the same shapes can look so good or so not good, depending on what body they're attached to. But again, those fins on that thing are just crazy to look at. Now let's get to the engines. Okay, here on the back pages, we get into the power plants right here. That is the Sonoramic 361. And it says here, manifold pipes 30 inches long act as sonic chargers. Some racetrack test cars, some hydroplanes use something like them. There we go. In Plymouth's importantly new Sonoramic Commando V8 engine, they ram far more torque into action for you than a conventional V8. This engine is not for everyone. It costs extra. And they say more here. In 1952, Chrysler Corporation engineers came upon a simple but spectacular way to take air into engines. They fixed lengths of pipe between the carburetors and intake valves of a special engine they were readying for Indianapolis test, the A311 Indy Hemi. They learned how to utilize compression waves in these pipes. They figured out how to ram this pulsing sonic pressure, air, and fuel mixture into the intake valves. Atmospheric supercharging, the Sonoramic engine. And again, it will get you to any desired cruising range a lot faster. This is for someone who appreciates unusual power in a motor car and can handle it. It costs extra. Now again, that engine made, I think, 330 horsepower. It wasn't like a 426 Street Hemi, it was 425 horsepower. But in 1960, you know, Plymouth was only a few years into the V8 era. And that Sonoramic engine was a pretty exotic piece, but the vast majority of these things were built with the 318 poly under the hood, which does not have a ram-tuned intake manifold, but the Slant 6 did. It had long runners on the six-cylinder one-barrel manifold, so even the Slant 6 benefited from ram tuning, not so much with the 318. But again, that's the story of Plymouth Fury for 1960, solid beauty. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Maggs YouTube channel and ring the bell, or hit the bell, so that way when we have new videos, you'll be alerted to them, and that will be tomorrow morning. We always have new videos every day. See you tomorrow.